Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tamarind and this is Live Abroad with ADHD. So I have been gone a while and it's because I'm bringing some great content to you. We have started our first travel series for Live Abroad with ADHD. We're going to start going on some interesting international trips to show a little bit of what it's like to travel when you're neurodivergent. I'm so excited today to present the first one. Now, before I tell you where we went, and you're going to want to stick around for this, just know that when you're neurodivergent, traveling is different than it is for anybody else. Choosing the location, it's not just picking a place off of a map. It really takes a lot of planning and intentionality. So today, we're going to dive into a few scenarios and steps that I use to help make decisions about where it's best for my family and I to travel as a neurodivergent person. I hope that you can use these steps to be very intentional and selective about where you're going to go, where you're going to travel to, or where you're possibly going to move to. So stick around, subscribe to our channel, and we'll get started. So today I am breaking down the exact framework that I've used to make decisions on where I'm going to move to or where I'm going to travel internationally with friends and family. As a neurodivergent person, I felt the trip that we just took, which I'm going to talk about today, made sense for so many reasons. And we went to Guadeloupe. Guadeloupe is in the French Caribbean, and it is an absolute dream. It was an honor to be there, hanging out with all the people, getting to know the culture more, and just unwinding. First, as a neurodivergent, the problem is most travel advice that you see all over the place, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, it gets it wrong for us. We need travel advice, particularly for moving somewhere, for going internationally for 2 or 3 months, or if you're just taking a trip to Guadeloupe, you need travel advice and guidance for your move from somebody who is familiar with being neurodivergent, has either experienced it themselves living overseas or traveling overseas, or very much understands a neurodivergent community. Honestly, I just wanted to unplug and relax. But for some vacations or some time away or some cities I've chosen to move to in the past, I wanted a little bit more than that. I didn't want so much isolation. I wanted to live in a city. But for this trip, I needed a little bit of waves and beach and weather and calm, less traffic. So here's my framework. I have 5 criteria that I use whenever I'm selecting a destination for a trip, maybe international travel, sometimes local, but it depends on the amount of time and what's going on in my life. It's really important that we check in with ourselves, not only as neurodivergents, but generally as people. It's important to know what we need at that particular time. And so in order to be intentional, I use these 5 things. So the first is sensory environment. Sensory stimulation or feeling sensory overload somewhere, well, that can really take a toll. And you're tired after the vacation because you're overstimulated. And so when you're checking in with yourself and you're trying to determine, is this the right location I should go to, or what is it that I'm looking for? Maybe you need a place that has uncrowded spaces, or maybe you don't want traffic noise. Like in the case of Guadeloupe, it was lovely. There was never really much traffic, and I didn't hear horns all day and all night long. And so that really helped me to unwind and check out. The second criteria is pace, the cultural pace. Is it fast moving? Is it slow and relaxed? What do you need in your life at that time? There are times when I just really wanted to feel energy and I wanted to be excited and sort of going, right? And I chose destinations for that. That was not this time. This time, I needed a place that was calm and serene. When you're ADHD, your pace is constantly at a high level. So maybe you want to go someplace where you can just slow it down and measure yourself out and just balance. And that's what I was looking for on this trip. Number 3, accessibility. And I'm not talking about maybe physical accessibility, particularly for someone with ADHD, but there may be that need for people who are neurodivergent. Depends on which type, of course. In my particular case, as someone with ADHD, it was more about the ease of navigation. Could I get around? Could I get an Uber? Could I connect easily with a taxi? And yeah, I mean, you throw WhatsApp on and it worked, but that's not the case everywhere. In Guadeloupe, though, it was very accessible. Even though most people speak French, because it is technically a department of France, and I don't speak any French, maybe 2 words, and I'm probably not saying any of them right. Many people speak English, and people are so patient, they wait for you to use your Translator Tool, which I used, or even if you have a phone app that you're maybe typing something in, people wait a little bit more for that. So that was really helpful. So number 4, disconnection. I know so many of us, we get into our deep hyper-focused dives. We are killing it at work, right? Like we are just on top of stuff. We're killing it at school. Things are always going for us. And I always make sure that number 4 is an absolute uncertain necessity. I need to disconnect. Yes, I may be working on a project that I've been hyper-focusing on for 3-4 months, maybe 3 or 4 days. But now's the time for my mind, body, and soul to really reconnect with itself and balance out. And so disconnecting as someone who is neurodivergent is so important. I don't want to be somewhere where my colleagues or friends that want to maybe vent about their latest breakup can catch me immediately, know I'm online, and can talk to me about it. I'm sorry, I don't want to update my boss on what I'm doing. I don't want my colleagues to just say, I can just text her really quick and ask this question. I want to disconnect. So it's nice that you can disconnect in Guadeloupe. Depending on where you're at, I'm in the eastern side of the United States, being able to be just 1 hour difference. It's not too far where my family can reach me if they need me, and it's not too confusing for the time zones, and my entire body clock isn't off its rhythm the entire time, but it's still different. And I am not waking up and getting online the same time as my colleagues, and that's also nice too. And number 5, personal alignment. And this is why it's so important to check in with yourself. Personal alignment for me, honestly, is not a criteria that I used for many years. It's only within the last few years that I realized that my selections and where I'm moving to, where I'm traveling to, it has to be aligned with where I am in my life at that time, what I'm doing, what I'm feeling. If I select a place like with some friends for a girls' trip and I'm with them, but it's not really where I needed to be at that time. It was maybe something as a group we thought was a good destination, but that wasn't a destination for me. And so, yeah, I may go, but when I return, I'm not feeling that sense of balance and calm and what I really needed for me. And so I spent a lot of time in December and November checking in with myself and making sure that we made a good selection with the French Caribbean and Guadeloupe in particular. And the more I double checked with myself, the more I knew that this is exactly what I needed. Why this country in particular? Well, again, I went through my 5 criteria, and this person aligned with what I needed, and it checked off the boxes of the other criteria. So it made a lot of sense. Let's go one by one. Sensory environment. I mean, Guadeloupe is beautiful. It's calming. It's relaxing. How can your senses not be, you know, um, just relaxed and calm during this period that you're in this beautiful, relaxing country? There's no major sensory overload that you're experiencing when you're there. Then, cultural pace. Well, the French Caribbean, I mean, the Caribbean, it's pretty calm and chill for the most part, right? Definitely not New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., East Coast vibe. And that's great because I needed to disconnect from that. And so the cultural pace was a lot more calm, a lot chill, and I kind of felt like Stella getting her groove back a little bit. So yeah, it was leisurely. The meals, we could sit forever and just have some wine and a charcuterie or a nice meal, and nobody pushed you, rushed you, or made you feel bad. You casually strolled in and you casually strolled out. And also for time management, it was okay if we were late for our reservation. I think one night we were maybe 15 or 20 minutes late, and I was sure they were going to give up our table, but not at all. They didn't. They didn't make us feel bad about it. They held our table, and it was a godsend, honestly. Next, accessibility. I mean, again, you may be at a place like Guadeloupe that doesn't have an Uber app that you can jump on or Lyft. That's okay. They had several taxi companies that had not only their own websites, but had WhatsApp business accounts and iMessenger and other things that you could easily go on and say, hi, I'd like to be picked up at this time, blah, blah, blah. Now, we were staying at an Airbnb, which is absolutely beautiful. And it's another, measure to sort of do things on your own and check out, right? However, we were near several hotels. So if we walked by a hotel and said, we want to go to this part of the island, we would just walk up to the hotel and there are taxis waiting there. So very convenient, very accessible. Also, again with French, I mean, let's not forget that people with ADHD and neurodivergent, we do have some auditory processing issues, some of us, and learning languages and retaining what you've learned, even short-term memory, that's more tricky for us. And so I really like that there were so many patient people who allowed me to use my AI Translator Tool, which I highly recommend. I'll put the link in the description of this video. And they would talk into it, I would talk into it, and it would translate for us, and it was fantastic. Then I would say disconnection. I mean, you're on a beach. It's stunning, it's beautiful, and the last thing you're thinking about is work or your obligations back home. And then finally, personal alignment. Come on, the beautiful water, the warm weather, it's absolutely stunning. And right now, we're shoveling ourselves out of several ice storms. And it was a nice break to be able to be in absolutely beautiful, stunning Guadeloupe. So here's how to use this framework. Step 1, well, you want to make sure that you identify exactly what you need and what you are trying to restore yourself from. Are you in decision fatigue? Are you just absolutely burned out? And as people who have ADHD, we know what burned out truly, truly means. And so what are you restoring from? You can't know what you're seeking until you know for sure what it is that you need to restore. 2, the 5 criteria by importance of you. So what 5 criteria on that list is most important for you to identify first? Is it personal alignment, possibly, like it was for me? Well, yeah. Right now, it's a tough, difficult world, and we are just trying to make it day by day. So maybe you need something that aligns to what you personally need right now, And that goes for moving internationally or just traveling internationally. Then next, step 3, research, research, research. But do it through your own lens. People who are neurodivergent, the guidance, the advice that is being given out there for people to travel and move, that's not always going to work for us. We need special guidance and support and planning. And honestly, people who are neurodivergent need very specific guidance and advice tailored to them. And so truly research, but always do it in the lens of someone who is neurodivergent, knowing what you need and what you need restoration from. Step 4, consider practical constraints. I mean, this goes without saying, I'm sure, for many of you, but sometimes you're so excited and amped to go somewhere. Well, maybe you overlook just practical things. For example, I have a lovely little dog and I would love to travel somewhere for weeks at a time, but I can't leave her that long. Sure, someone could watch her, or maybe if I can afford it, I can bring her to a little doggy hotel. But I don't want to leave her for that long. She'd be so sad, and that very much affects her when I'm gone for a long period of time. So that is a practical constraint. Myself and my partner, we try to make sure that we balance out the time that we're going on trips. And if we're going together, we want to make sure that we're very careful, as we did for Guadeloupe. Other practical constraints, an obvious one is financial. What's your budget like? Can you afford it? Are you thinking about making an international move? And maybe you want to travel to your destination ahead of actually moving there, right? Maybe you're not that person that just gets on a plane and moves to another country and they've never been there and don't know anybody. Maybe you want to take that trip just to, sort of see if it is for you and if it works for your needs. Do you have the budget for that? If you do take that trip for a week or two to check it out, what if it doesn't work for you? Then you decide another destination. Will you be able to afford to do the same thing? So only you know your budget, but obviously those are some of the practical constraints that I'm thinking about. Finally, step 5, and truly the most important for me, trust your gut. Women, trust your intuition especially. We know when we truly want to do something. If a place feels wrong, listen to your gut. If something feels just not right with why you're going or where you're going, then listen to yourself. I've created a couple of packing guides and checklists to help with some of the planning and preparation that you may need in making these selections or going on these trips. I have some travel essentials as well. I will put in the description. I also have a couple of products I highly recommend. I will also put those links in the description. Everybody, this is just the beginning. We are so excited to bring this travel series to you, and honestly, Guadeloupe was a dream. It gave me the restoration that I needed, and what I did and where I stayed, I'll be putting some of that in the description for you. If you're considering an upcoming trip, vacation, or maybe an international move, I'd highly recommend Guadeloupe and its sister island, Martinique. I really found it such a dream, and it checked off all of my boxes. So please subscribe if you're neurodivergent or an ally or someone with a family member or just interested in what our process is and what we need as people in the neurodivergent community when we're relocating internationally or we're traveling abroad. And remember, restoration isn't luxury, it is a necessity. So please subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks for joining.